Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. Let's start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscham Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Shabadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nilachala Nivashaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaaya Te Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we'll start with chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita. So in total there are 18 chapters and we have completed 16 chapters successfully. It's a great mercy of the Lord. Many people, they start Bhagavad Gita and after reading a few chapters, their enthusiasm dies out and they discontinue. But it requires mercy of the Lord to continue the study of Gita and complete all the chapters. So we have seen many things. In the chapter 1, mostly Arjuna is lamenting. Arjuna is acting like a normal materialistic living entity who is bewildered by illusion, and he is not speaking like a learned scholar, and he is displaying attachment towards the family members. So there are many issues with Arjuna in the first chapter, and from second chapter onwards the Supreme Lord clarifies and refutes different arguments of Arjuna. So in the chapter 2, Krishna gave a display of different kinds of yogic methods and at the same time refuted the arguments of Arjuna. So in chapter 2, we have Sankhya Yoga, the science of body and soul. The science of soul is discussed, that is called Sankhya Yoga. And then Sakam Karma Yoga, Niskam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, all the Karma Yoga, all the different yogic paths are discussed in chapter 2. Then in chapter 3, prominently, again, Krishna describes about Karma Yoga due to Arjuna's doubt. Arjuna was doubtful regarding action or renunciation. So Krishna clarified. In chapter 2, Krishna also spoke about the qualities of Sthita Pragya. Sthita Pragya is such a person who is perfected in Niskam Karma Yoga, or kind of we can say a pure devotee. So chapter 3 elaborates on Karma Yoga to clarify Arjuna's doubt. Then in chapter 4, Jnana Yoga, Krishna speaks about different methods of acquiring knowledge. And at the end of the chapter 4, Krishna says the best method for acquiring knowledge is to surrender unto a bona fide pure devotee. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. A tattvadarshi purush, or a person who is self-realized, Acharya, a pure devotee of the Lord, can enlighten you. So go to a pure devotee and surrender. Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness, further elaboration on Karma Yoga. Arjuna is having a similar question as Arjuna asked in the third chapter. So again, elaboration on Karma Yoga. Chapter 6 is Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga means Ashtanga, 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Yama means the don'ts and Niyama means the do's. Asana means the sitting posture. Pranayama means breathing control. And then Pratyahar means abstaining the senses from the sense objects. And then comes Dharana. Dharana means the conception of the Supreme Lord starts forming inside the heart. And the mature stage of Dharana is Dhyan. Then the yogi is able to meditate on Super Soul. And Samadhi means complete undeviated meditation on the Super Soul. That is the perfection of Ashtanga Yoga. So in this chapter, Krishna gives elaborated procedures for Ashtanga Yoga. And after hearing the procedures of Ashtanga Yoga, Arjuna concluded that this is not for me. I cannot do that. Although Arjuna is a very qualified person, Arjuna is telling Krishna that I cannot practice this Ashtanga Yoga. Then Krishna at the end of 6th chapter says Arjuna that do not worry. Ashtanga Yoga is very difficult, I know. But I am enumerating all the different yogic paths. So I am also enumerating Ashtanga Yoga. But I know it is not possible for people of Kali Yuga, or Arjuna was in Dwapar Yuga, but after Krishna's departure, Kali Yuga will start. So Krishna is speaking the Bhagavad Gita not for Arjuna, for the people in Kali Yuga. So Krishna says that if you cannot do Ashtanga Yoga, there is a better option. You can go for Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is easier than Ashtanga Yoga. This is practical for this age. At the same time, you will get more benefit by doing Bhakti Yoga. Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yovam shame yukta tamomata. In this verse, Krishna says the supremacy of Bhakti. Bhakti yogis are the topmost. So in the yoga ladder, Bhakti Yoga is at the top. Ashtanga Yoga comes below Bhakti Yoga. So by Ashtanga Yoga, one attains Paramatma, but by Bhakti Yoga, one can attain Krishna Loka. So the destination you will achieve by Bhakti Yoga is higher, and the process is also simpler. So therefore, Krishna encouraged Arjuna to practice Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti is all encompassing, means all the benefits of karma and jnana, Ashtanga are already within Bhakti. Then chapter 7 to 12 onwards, Krishna elaborated on this process of Bhakti by giving the knowledge of the Absolute, Krishna's different energies, what kind of people surrender unto Krishna, who does not surrender unto Krishna, demigod worship, impersonalism, how can we conquer Maya, how can we remember Krishna at the time of death, what is the importance of remembering Krishna at the time of death, how can we remember Krishna by pure Bhakti, material versus spiritual worlds, and Krishna's relationship with this material world, impersonalist and Vishwarup worshippers, different things, and their difference with the Ananya Bhaktas or the pure devotees, description of the Virat Rupa, and demigod worship, glories of Krishna Bhakti. Then in chapter 10, Krishna explains about the opulence, Krishna's different opulences. Theoretically, all the different opulences of Krishna is enumerated in this chapter. Chapter 11 is display of those opulences in a practical form, Vishwarup. In one place, Arjuna is able to see all the different opulences which was discussed in chapter 10. Then Arjuna becomes humble by seeing the Vishwarup, and Arjuna thought that Krishna is my friend, and now Arjuna sees Krishna is God. So Arjuna is praying by folding palms. Arjuna is surrendering completely. So after that, in chapter 12, Krishna elaborated on devotional service, different stages of devotional service. The best thing is to fix our mind on Krishna. If we cannot do that, fix our intelligence on Krishna. If you cannot do that, try to fix your mind on Krishna. If you cannot do that, then at least work for Krishna, physical work. Even if you cannot do that, then give up the results of your actions and be self-situated. And different qualities of devotees are also explained. In chapter 3, nature enjoyer consciousness is explained. Ishwara Jiva Prakriti. And in chapter 4, the Prakriti is further elaborated. The 3 modes of material nature or Jada Prakriti, Sattva, Raja and Tama is discussed. Chapter 15, Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottama Yoga. Ishwara Tattva is most prominently discussed here. How Krishna is the maintainer, how the Jivas are transmigrating, and Krishna is the conclusion of Veda and Vedanta. So this chapter establishing Krishna as Purushottam. Chapter 16 discusses the divine and demoniac nature. Those who follow the Supreme Lord are divine, and those who are against the Supreme Lord, they are demoniac. What are their characteristics? How can we know who is divine and who is demoniac? All those things are discussed. And what is the effect of demoniac nature? Everything is discussed. Now today we'll study the chapter 17, division of faith. So in Bhagavad Gita, there are many chapters where the concept of three modes of material nature is prominently discussed. Three modes of material nature is a very, very important topic. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, chapter 17, chapter 18, prominently, this topic is discussed. So 14th chapter, we have already seen the three modes of material nature. Let's do a little bit of recap of chapter 14, where we have seen three modes of material nature. This topic was introduced in chapter 14. How the jiva gets conditioned by the three modes of nature, that is discussed. What is the effect of their conditioning? What destination they achieve? If somebody in Sattva and dies, what will be the destination? Gita explains that that person will go to the upper planetary system. Urdham gachanti sattastha madhye tishtati rajasa jaganna gunavittista adogachanti tamasha. If a person dies in mode of goodness, he will go to the upper planetary systems, the Svargaloka and heavenly planetary systems. If a person is in mode of passion, he will take birth in earthly planetary system. If one is in mode of ignorance, he will go into the lower planetary system. So how these three modes condition the jivas and what are their effects, that is explained in chapter 14. Now chapter 17 gives further flavor of the three modes of material nature. In every aspect of this material world, we can see this fingerprint of three modes of material nature. So a quick summary of the chapter is, Arjuna is asking Krishna that what if one does unauthorized worship, like demigod worship and all? The most authorized form of worship is what? Worshipping the Supreme Lord, Krishna, directly. Krishna already told before in the 7th chapter, in the 9th chapter, the demigod worship is not a very intelligent activity. If one is intelligent, he will directly worship the Supreme Lord and will not try to bribe the demigods to get some temporary benefit. So intelligent person worship the Supreme Lord, and that is the authorized worship. Now Arjuna is asking, what happens if someone does unauthorized worship? Okay, what is their faith? They also have faith. They do not have faith in the Supreme Lord, but they have faith in some demigods. So what about them? So then Krishna describes that, yes, faith is also in three different modes. So faith is determined by modes. Food is determined by modes. Sacrifices are in modes. Austerity of body, mind, speech are in modes. Austerity in modes, charity in modes. So everything, every aspect of this material world, in every activity, eating, doing sacrifices, austerity, charity, faith, in all these things, we can observe that these three modes of material nature are present. Everything in this material world is affected by the three modes of material nature. That is the overview of this chapter. And Krishna will explain that how each of these aspects of material universe are affected by the three modes. And now, if you want to get rid of the three modes, what we have to do? We have to do it for Vishnu. Every activity is in three modes, but if you offer that activity to Vishnu or Krishna, then it transcends the modes and it becomes transcendental. That is the meaning of the word transcendental. Transcendental means one who, the activities which are transcending the three modes of material nature. Okay. So anything done for Vishnu is eternal and not in the three modes. Now let's begin the chapter 17. So first verse, Arjuna will ask the question and then Krishna will give answer that faith is determined by the three different modes. So here Arjuna is asking the question. Arjuna uvacha ye shastra vridhim utsrijya yajante shraddhayanvita tesham nishtha tuka Krishna sattvam ahurajastamam. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scriptures but worship according to their own imagination? Scriptures say worship the Supreme Lord, but these people, they do not worship according to the scriptural regulation, but they worship according to their own imagination. Are they in goodness, in passion, or ignorance? What mode they are situated in? This is Arjuna's question. Okay. Now, Krishna answers, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiba Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrinu. The Supreme Person of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, hear about this. Krishna will elaborate on the faith in three different modes. Those who know the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence give up following rules and regulations, are governed by the modes of material nature. According to their previous activities in the modes of goodness, passion, ignorance, they acquire a nature which is of a specific quality. The association of the living entity with different modes of nature has been going on perpetually. Since the living entity is in contact with material nature, he acquires different type of mentality according to association with the material modes. But this nature can be changed if one associates with bona fide spiritual master and abides by his rules and the scriptures. So from time immemorial, we are in this material world, and therefore we are also afflicted by the three modes of material nature, sattva, rajatama, and they have conditioned us strongly. But we can come out of that conditioning if we accept a bona fide spiritual master who is coming in the disciplic succession starting from Krishna, just like Srila Prabhupada and the followers of Srila Prabhupada. And if we abide by the rules and regulations given by Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra, then we have some hope we can change our nature. Gradually, one can change his position from ignorance to goodness or from passion to goodness, from the lower modes to the upper modes. So gradually one can come to goodness, and from goodness one can come to pure goodness or the transcendental platform. The conclusion is that blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot help a person become elevated to the perfectional stage. One has to consider things carefully with intelligence in the association of a bona fide spiritual master. So one, by one's own effort, cannot transcend the modes. One needs the help of Guru, because we are with the mind and we always think we are good, we are doing bhakti, everything is fine. But Guru can see us, whether we are actually progressing or not. Guru can point out the faults in us and Guru can chastise us. Then we make progress. Thus, one can change his position to a higher mode of nature. The Supreme Lord further elaborates, Svatvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddha mayoyam purusha yoyar shaddu sa evasha. O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. So, according to the different modes, they will develop different faiths, or they will choose a person on which they can have faith. Okay, for like the devotees, they can have faith in Krishna, but some people they will have faith in the demigods. It depends on their different modes. Yajante satvika devan yaksha raksham shirajasham pretan bhutaganam chanye jajante tamasa jana. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. So here Krishna gave a formula that based on the fact of based on their object of worship, you can infer the mode. If they are worshipping the demigods, that means they are in mode of goodness. They are ready to follow some scriptural rules and regulations. They're not ready to follow the rules and regulations of the Supreme Lord, but they will follow rules and regulations of the demigods. And they have some desire in their heart, and therefore they are going to the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. In this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead describes different kinds of worshippers according to their external activities. According to scriptural injunction, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipable. But those who are not very conversant with or faithful to the scriptural injunctions worship different objects. So here, the point to be noted, even the person in mode of goodness is not aware of the scriptural regulations. So it is possible that I am in mode of goodness, but if I do not read scriptures, I am far away from the truth. Like in comparison with the other modes like passion and ignorance, goodness is better than that. But actually, our aim is not mode of goodness. Our aim should be the transcendental platform or mode of pure goodness. And that is possible when we follow Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, the spiritual master, the scriptures, and the Vaishnavas. According to specific situations in the modes of material nature, those who are situated in goodness generally worship the demigods. Some exceptions might be there. Some people in mode of goodness may also worship the Supreme Lord, but after worshipping the Supreme Lord, gradually they come to pure goodness. The demigods include Brahma, Shiva, and others such as Indra, Chandra, Sun God. There are various demigods. Those in goodness worship a particular demigod for a particular purpose. Similarly, those who are in the mode of passion worship the demons. We recall that during Second World War, a man in Calcutta worshipped Hitler, demoniac person, because thanks to that war, he had amassed a large amount of wealth by dealing in the black market. So therefore, that person was worshipping demoniac, another person who is demoniac. Similarly, those in the mode of passion and ignorance generally select a powerful man to be God. They do not accept Krishna to be God, but some powerful man, and they worship that man. They think that anyone can be worshipped as God and that the same results will be obtained. Generally, they say, whoever you worship, you go to the same destination. That's not true. Now, it is clearly described here that those who are in the mode of passion worship and create such gods. Such gods, the god G is in small letter because they are not actual gods, but people perceive them as gods. And those who are in the mode of ignorance, in darkness, worship dead spirits like black magic, ghosts, and spirits, tantra, etc. Sometimes people worship at the tomb of some dead man. Sexual service is also considered to be in mode of darkness. Some people also have, some people in mode of ignorance, they also do some sexual activity as a part of their spiritual practice. They say that I'm having a spiritual practice, but that includes such things like sexual activities. So it is only possible for people in mode of ignorance. Otherwise, the Sattva people or people who follow the scriptures will not go in some path like that. Similarly, in remote villages in India, there are worshippers of ghosts. We have seen that in India, the lower class people sometimes go to the forest, and if they have knowledge that a ghost lives in a tree, they worship that tree and offer sacrifices. These different kinds of worships are not actually God worship. God worship is for persons who are transcendentally situated, means beyond the three modes, in pure goodness. So, in a way, we can say if we are able to worship Krishna, that means up to some extent we are in pure goodness. Okay, otherwise, it is not possible to worship Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Sattam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. When a man is situated in pure goodness, he worships Vasudeva or Krishna. The purport is that those who are completely purified of the material modes of nature and who are transcendently situated can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can worship. So, this is a qualification. If we do not situate ourselves in the pure goodness, you cannot worship Krishna. Okay. So, if we are able to chant the holy names and read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, worship the Supreme Lord, that means some characteristics of pure goodness is already there. Some spark is already there. Now we have to fan that by devotional service, and then completely we can come to pure goodness. And then that's in that stage we are liberated from this material world. Anything in this material world will not affect us because we are in the pure goodness. Sattva, Raja, Tama will not affect us. The impersonalists are supposed to be situated in mode of goodness, and they worship five kinds of demigods. They worship the impersonal Vishnu form in the material world. This is regarding the impersonalist, which is also known as philosophized Vishnu. Vishnu is the expansion of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the impersonalists, because they do not ultimately believe in the Supreme Lord, imagine that Vishnu form is just another aspect of impersonal Brahman. So they have some crooked notion of Vishnu, impersonalist. Similarly, they imagine that Lord Brahma is the impersonal form in the material mode of passion. Everything is impersonal. They do not accept Brahma is a person, Vishnu is a person, Shiva is a person. But in reality, they are persons. Thus, they sometimes describe five kinds of gods they are worshipable. But because they think that the actual truth is impersonal Brahman, they dispose of all worshipable objects at the ultimate end. In conclusion, the different qualities of the material modes of nature can be purified through association with persons who are of transcendental nature. So Srila Prabhupada also is warning us that which different people have different kinds of faith. Some worship the demigods, some worship the impersonal Brahman, and some worship the Supreme Lord. So we have to choose our association wisely. We should not associate with the Mayavadis or the impersonalists. We should also not associate with the demigod worshippers, but we should find a devotee of Krishna and we have to associate with them. Now, Krishna explains further. Asastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapojanam dambhahankara samyukta kamaraga valanvitam कर्षयन्त शरीरस्थं भूताग्रामम् अचेतसः मां चैवन्त शरीरस्थं तन्विद्याशूरं निश्चयन्. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body, as well as the super soul dwelling within, are known to be demons. Now, in the chapter 16, Krishna has given elaborated description of who is a demon. Now, in chapter 17 also, Krishna describes them in one verse. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism. So you can see there are many demons like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana. They always do some austerity to gain some superpowers from Brahma or Shiva, right? So they are not doing any austerity as per the scriptures to please Lord Vishnu. They are doing sacrifices or austerities out of their pride and egoism to achieve some superpowers and to cause harm to this universe. And they are lusty and they are too much attached to the material objects. They are foolish. Therefore, you see many demons like Hiranyakashipu, they think they are very intelligent. Hiranyakashipu asked Brahma that I want to be immortal. Brahmaji told that I am not immortal, so I cannot grant you the benediction of immortality. So ask something else. Then Hiranyakashipu asked, okay, then I can play a trick. I cannot be killed by, give me some benediction that I cannot be killed by any human nor by any animal. I cannot be killed within the home, outside the home. Okay, I cannot be killed in daytime, in nighttime. So Hiranyakashipu thought I am very intelligent. I have enumerated all different possible options and Brahmaji granted me the benediction. So now I am immortal. But the Supreme Lord is more intelligent than us. He took the Nrsimha form, half lion, half man incarnation, and killed Hiranyakashipu during the evening time, not day, not night, and at the like entrance of a door, not within the home, not outside the home, and not in sky, not in the earth. Hiranyakashipu was killed on the lap of Lord Nrsimhadev. So they are actually foolish, but they think they are very intelligent. And who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within are known to be demons. For example, they are into intoxication. When we take intoxicants, our body is agitated. And the super soul, we are also torturing the super soul. The body is supposed to be a temple for the super soul. Super soul is there. So body should be a temple. A Vaishnava decorates the body with Vaishnava tilak, wears chandan, takes bath nicely, takes care of the body, and with that body engages in the service of Krishna. But a demoniac person will torture the body and will disrespect the super soul within the body. Okay, so this is a definition of the demons. So we have seen till now that Arjuna has asked the question about unauthorized worship, and Krishna gave the answer that faith is determined by different modes. And this is basically the answer. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods, and those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. And who are demons? Krishna also gave a description of that. Okay, now next, if we see, even the food is also in three modes. Aharasvapi sarvasya trividho bhavati priya yagyastapa tatha danam tesham vedam imam shrinu. Even the food in each person prefers is of three kinds. According to the three modes of material nature, the same is true of sacrifices, austerity, and charity. Now here the distinctions between them. So everything is in three modes. Okay, the foods, the sacrifices, austerity, charity, and Krishna will now describe all of them. So the next verse is the divisions of different kinds of food items in three different modes. Ayu satya balarogya sukha priti vivardhanam rasya snigdha sthira ridya ahara satvika priya. So first Krishna enumerates the qualities of a satvika food. Okay, foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. So these foods are called foods in mode of goodness. Okay, juicy like the fruits, fatty like foods made with ghee, wholesome, pleasing to the heart. Therefore, you will see mostly in the preparations of bhoga, this juicy, fatty, these features will be there, and the bhoga is prominently made in ghee for the Supreme Lord. Okay, and this kind of foods in mode of goodness, what are the effects? They increase the duration of life, purifies one existence, and gives strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. So ideally, this is for food in mode of goodness. Ideally, prasadam should be transcendental. Prasadam of the Lord, of the bhoga which we offer to the Lord, that should be transcendental. But the bhoga is made out of material elements, so they will carry some material qualities. So we have to make a bhoga or bhoga for the Supreme Lord, which is in prominently in mode of goodness or pure goodness. And these are the characteristics that we should follow. After the Supreme Lord accepts that bhoga, it becomes transcendental. Then it becomes beyond the three modes of material nature. But we should be careful sometimes, because we may be in mode of passion or ignorance. We tend to choose the food items which are in mode of passion or ignorance. Krishna will describe what are the food items in mode of passion and ignorance. Katvam la lavanatyushna tikshna ruksha videhinaham ahara rajasasyeshta dukkha shokamaya prada. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, burning are dear to those in mode of passion. Like too much masala, too much salty, too hot. These are the characteristics of food in mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. These are not good. So sometimes what we do while making the bhoga for the Lord, we also tend to choose some food items, or we tend to put so much masala. Then some characteristics of mode of passion comes within that food. Although after Krishna accepts, it becomes prasad, but still we should try to make it more in mode of goodness or sattva. Therefore, sattvika bhoga should be offered to the Supreme Lord. Okay. Then Krishna also accepts that wholeheartedly. If you offer food in mode of passion and ignorance, Krishna will not accept that. Okay. So technically it's not prasad, and we are not eating something which is transcendental. Okay. Now, what about the food in mode of ignorance? Yata yamam gata rasam purti paryushitam chayat uchistam api chamedhyam bhojanam tamashapriyam. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Okay, then it becomes cold and it becomes tasteless. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. So some people in mode of ignorance, sometimes people eat meat. So eating meat is an activity of mode of ignorance because that living entity was dead. And eating meat means I am eating meat from a dead body. So that is very, very uh, like low grade of food, and no sattvic person can have a taste for meat. Okay, so anything meat, fish, eggs, so non-vegetarian food, that should be avoided because that comes under the mode of ignorance. And even normal food, even vegetarian food, if it is prepared more than 3 hours before, then some quality of mode of ignorance starts coming. So we should cook fresh and eat fresh. If that is not possible, sometimes we can because we are having a busy life, so sometimes 3 times cooking a day may not be possible. So we may keep the food for sometimes in freeze, but should not be more than like 1 or 2 days, then it becomes full of mode of ignorance. So we can set our own standard. The ideal standard is we should prepare food and eat instantly. If that is not possible, then we can decide a suitable standard which we can follow. But we should have this knowledge of food in different kinds of modes, the qualities of food in mode of ignorance, passion, and mode of goodness. So here Srila Prabhupada gives some description. The purpose of food is to increase the duration of life, purify the mind, and aid bodily strength. This is the only purpose. So we are taking food for what? We want to get energy, and with that energy, we want to serve the Supreme Lord. In the past, great authorities selected those foods that best aid health and increase life's duration, such as milk products, sugar, rice, wheat, fruit, and vegetables. These are foods in mode of goodness. Okay, so these we can offer to the Supreme Lord, and Krishna is also very happy to accept these foods. These foods are very dear to those in mode of goodness. Some other foods, such as baked corn and molasses, while not very palatable in themselves, can be made pleasant when mixed with milk or other foods. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada is giving practical demonstration what kind of foods are in what modes. They are then in mode of goodness. So, for example, jaggery powder mixed with milk, it's in mode of goodness. All these foods are pure by nature. All these mode of goodness foods are pure by nature. They're quite distinct from untouchable things like meat and liquor. They're in mode of ignorance, and we should not touch as devotees. Fatty foods, as mentioned in the 8th verse, have no connection with animal fat. Fatty foods does not mean animal fat, but kind of ghee, butter, like that. Animal fat is available in the form of milk. So if someone says that animal fat is required for the nourishment of our body, that we achieve from milk. We should not slaughter animals and eat their meat for getting animal fat. And we have already discussed scientifically about this veg and non-veg in our Bhakti Yoga seminar. And there we have discussed elaborately about this. That with vegetarian food, complete nutrition of the body is possible, which is the most wonderful of all foods. Milk, butter, cheese, and similar products give animal fat in a form which rules out any need of the killing of innocent creatures. So by taking all these things, we get animal fat, but also we don't have to kill any animals. So karma free and nutritious food we are getting. And all this come from cow. Therefore, cow is considered to be mother, very important animal in our Vedic culture. And slaughtering a cow is considered to be a great sinful activity, go hatya. It is only through brute mentality that this killing goes on. The civilized method of obtaining needed fat is by milk. Slaughter is the way of subhumans. Protein is amply available through split peas, dal, whole wheat, etc. So protein, fat, carbohydrate, everything is available. All the vegetarian options are available. We should not kill animals for that purpose. Foods are in the mode of passion, which are bitter, too salty, or too hot, or overly mixed with red pepper, cause misery by reducing the mucus in the stomach, leading to disease. Foods in the mode of ignorance or darkness are essentially those that are not fresh. Unfresh foods are in mode of ignorance. Any food cooked more than 3 hours before it is eaten, except prasadam, food offered to the Lord. If it is prasadam, then even if it is more than 3 hours, it will not have much of the mode of ignorance quality. Is considered to be in mode of darkness or ignorance because they are decomposing. If you keep more than 3 hours, it starts decomposing. So therefore, the mode of ignorance comes in. Such foods give a bad odor and often attracts people in the mode in this mode or attracts people in the mode of ignorance, but repulses those in the mode of goodness. A mode of goodness person will not be able to accept that food. Remnants of the food may be eaten only when they are part of a meal that was first offered to the Supreme Lord or first eaten by saintly person. So accepting remnants of food is only allowed if you are accepting the remnants of the Supreme Lord or some saintly person or Vaishnavas, especially the spiritual master. Otherwise, the remnants of food is considered to be in mode of darkness and they increase infection or disease. If some person is having some infection through the saliva, it will propagate to other person. Such foodstuffs, although very palatable to persons in mode of darkness, are neither liked or even not even touched by those in mode of goodness. So how can we understand this? So if we can see for persons who are not very clean and who are not in the mode of goodness, they don't mind sipping from the same glass, sharing the same food. So they do not understand the concept of remnants. They think what will happen? Okay, nothing is going to happen. This is also food, that is also food. So they don't have the fine distinction between a fresh food and a remnant of food. A mode of goodness person can make such distinctions. The best food in the remnants of what is offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord says that he accepts preparations of vegetable, flour, milk when offered with devotion. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Of course, devotion and love are the chief things which the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts. But it is also mentioned that the prasadam should be prepared in a particular way. Prasadam should be prepared in a particular way. I cannot have a mode of passion or mode of ignorance food and offered to Krishna. The prasadam should be sattvic. Any food prepared by the injunctions of the scriptures and offered to the Supreme Person of Godhead can be taken even if prepared long, long ago, because such food is transcendental. For example, in Puri, Jagannath Puri, Jagannath have a specific prasadam called Khaja Prasadam, and that we can keep for long time, even months. Even after months, mode of ignorance will not come into that prasadam. Therefore, to make food antiseptic, eatable, and palatable for all persons, one should offer food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, then all these different kinds of dosh of the mode of ignorance and passion, they are nullified if you offer it to the Supreme Lord. Okay, so we completed the 10 verses of chapter 17. We'll continue from the next point. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. If you have any questions, you can ask me personally. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.